here.
Alive! It's alive! It's alive!
Otherworldlyculture.com presents Dead On Movie Reviews.
Salutations and mutilations! You're listening to Otherworldly Culture presents Dead On Movie Reviews. Tonight, we will present horror movie reviews and lively debate here on otherworldlyculture.com and on future select Thursdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. You can join our live chat at that time by clicking on live shows, the live shows link on otherworldlyculture.com. I'm your host, Tim Kretschmann, coming to you from the land of lakes and landfills, beautiful and smelly Muskego, Wisconsin. It's my honor to introduce the Faculty of Fear panel presenting tonight's lectures. Hailing from the Motor City, Detroit, Michael Cieslak has a video problem, and he's working on that right now. He's a lifetime reader and a writer of horror, mystery, and speculative fiction. He has served as an officer in the Great Lakes Association of Horror Writers and is the editor of the Eerie Tales anthologies. Michael is the editor-in-chief of Dragon's Roost Press, and his works have appeared in a number of collections, including DOA Extreme Horror, Dead Science, Vicious Verses and Reanimated Rhymes, and the collaborative steampunk novel Army of Brass. He is a kilt enthusiast, and he's killing it over at thedragonsroost.biz. He is Michael Cieslak. Hello, Michael.
Michael Cieslak, who is now represented by a big blue S.
There you go.
There we
Look
go.
at that. Look at that.
That's a hard time.
All right.
Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year. And next we have Tracy DeLeon. She's been in over 11 films, a good friend of the show with numerous appearances here. And it's a thrill to have her on the show with us tonight. She is the denizen diva of the disturbing, who frequently partakes in films quite unnerving. She always gives the straight dope and goes into every film with a glimmer of hope. She is afraid to go ankles deep into a flick and calls out douchetards for being a prick. Now it's my pleasure to set out eyes all upon our panelists tonight, Tracy DeLeon. Hi, Tracy.
Hey guys,
Hey, Tracy.
What's up?
it's been so long.
It has been a long time, and our final panelist tonight, last and least, we have the founder of East Coast Horror Group, who is on top of his game when he isn't watching poop. He complains about action shots of a pool cleaner, which he does with his copyrighted surly demeanor. Some say about horror he is obsessed. I say it's only that frickin' VHS. He's the coach, Coach McGurk, Coach Michael Exler. How you doing, Mike?
I'm doing good, thanks
I
for
haven't.
having me back on. It's been, like Tracy said, it's been far too long.
It has, and that is such an old intro. I still have East Coast Horror Group on it.
You do?
That impressed me how old that one was. But I found it, and I was like, I gotta use this. So everybody,
That's funny.
Go ahead.
No, I was just saying that's funny. I hadn't heard that one in a very long time.
A very long time. And by the way, folks, we used to do the show on Tuesdays. We're moving all of our shows to Thursdays because those weeks where I was trying to do Tuesdays and Thursdays, that's why we didn't have any shows in 2023 of Dead On movie reviews. I was burnt out. But I've now decided we're going to do them in series. And weeks that Jeff can't do Dead on the Bases, we're going to insert Dead on movie reviews during that season, but mostly that's going to be a 9-episode season. And then, of course, to kick off this season, we got, I think it's 3 or 4 episodes of Dead on movie reviews we're going to do Basically, we're doing Dead On movie reviews to get ourselves ready for the Horror Realm convention in Pittsburgh. So,
Look out, Pittsburgh.
it's going to be a great one. We'll talk more about that later on in today's program. I think what we're going to do, we're going to start things off with Michael Cieslak telling us about his movie. So, Mike, tell us what you've been watching.
I have been watching Night Swim. I was actually fortunate enough to get a sneak preview of it. So I did see it in the theater. The first thing that we need to address is the elephant in the room, or in this case, the elephant in the backyard. Yes, the idea of a haunted swimming pool is absolutely ridiculous.
Okay.
We're just going to put that
I would
aside.
agree.
This is a standard length movie that was based on a 4-minute short. I think it may have more impact as a 4-minute short, but that doesn't mean it's a bad movie. That being said, the film doesn't feel stretched out at all. The basic plot involves the most horrifying thing that anyone knows, moving into a new house. There's a family.
Well, you know that because you just moved into a new house.
Trust me, there's all kinds of parallels with this movie because we've got a swimming pool too, and I'll get to that. The father in the family is played by Wyatt Russell. Does a pretty good job, I thought. He's a former pro baseball player, so we've got the whole baseball angle. If you guys want to both watch this for the other show at some point, there you go.
Oh, look at that.
He is suffering from MS. When we first see him, he's struggling walking with crutches and a walker, and then he has to go down to a wheelchair. And he's thinking that, okay, of all the houses they look at, they move into this one that has the swimming pool because maybe it'll be good. You know, the hydrotherapy will be good for him.
Okay.
Excuse me. They do look at some other films. There is a little bit of a before this part starts. There's like a little background thing. I'm going to skip over that because I don't want to give anything away.
Okay.
Turns out that the hydrotherapy does work amazing things for him, and soon he is walking without aid. He's actually, he goes to help his son's Little League team, and he's hitting like he was before, does the whole natural, hits the ball into the lights explode, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, my God.
Problem is, it's a horror movie, so there's got to be a downside to this.
Right.
And that downside is bad things start to happen to everyone else in the family, especially when they swim at night. I personally don't go into my pool at night. I don't have the cool light setup that they have there.
Okay.
Each of the kids experiences something weird. The son, who's the younger one, hears a voice coming from the water intake for the filter system.
Hold on.
And then some.
Hold on.
I'm sorry?
Hold on just a moment. Mr. Exler, I'm going to ask this question on your behalf. Is there a pool cleaner that's going around in the pool? Because
There is no paranormal activity pool cleaner going around.
Okay, because it's been established that's the most frightening thing on earth. Is a pool cleaner thing going around.
That's a lie.
I gotta tell you, I have lost hours watching ours. Just go back and sometimes it's very calming. It's like, like one of those Zen gardens where you rake the sand, and sometimes it's infuriating. It's like watching a Roomba not pick up a scrap of dust. It's like, why are you not getting into that corner? But back to the movie.
Okay.
The daughter has a weird experience when she's playing Marco Polo on a date where she thinks someone's there and there isn't. The same thing happens to the mom. There's a lot of like people under the water thinking that they see things and there's not anyone there. All of this kind of comes to a head where they have a giant pool party and someone almost drowns. Very effective scene. Again, for people who are going to watch it, I'm not going to go into too much detail, but I thought that was really well done.
In the pool.
In the pool.
Are there any Native Americans that are buried in the pool?
There are no Native Americans buried underneath the pool.
Okay, just check.
However,
just check.
You're doing like the perfect segue in for me. We do, however, have the standard people who move into a haunted establishment research montage where the wife starts to find out all the things that happened before here, and there's like a history of bad things happening and people have drowned, and there is a like a natural spring that used to be there, and this is hinted at the very beginning when they first move in. And the person who's helping them set the pool up says that it's on some kind of like natural aquifer, so it'll automatically keep feeding and filtering the water, and they're gonna shock it once, but they should never have to do anything with it again. And that's where I'm turning the page, and we're getting into the part that frustrated the poop out of me, because they check that pool once. And it's fine the whole rest of the time. They have a cover that they don't even use. And I got to tell you, I had to relearn high school chemistry in order to keep my pool free from algae and stuff. Sorry, I'm going tangential again.
That's okay.
This is not a bad movie, but it's not a great movie. There are some things that they do really well. Thought the acting was all pretty good, especially when you've got a bunch of, not a bunch, you've got the family, you've got the daughter and the son, but then you've also got some of their friends as well. All the kid actors were very believable. That's
one
good.
Thing
they could really bug me sometimes, and I thought that was really well done. Some of the effects, not so great. We've got some kind of dodgy looking CGI.
Is this a Blumhouse, this one?
This is a Blumhouse
joint.
What's robot the
Bad Robot?
James Wan's thing too.
Oh, this is
their
first
thing
one.
Together.
Okay, yeah. Because their CGI varies a great deal on Blumhouse.
Yes.
And I think it's they put in like temporary like effects sometimes, and then they go, oh, maybe we're going to release this theatrically, and they forget to fix it. It's just something I've noticed a few times, because sometimes like their video for the directive streaming stuff, their effects are actually better than some of the theatrical stuff, and I'm like, did somebody mix files somewhere in the backyard? I don't know what's going on. So, but James Wan, he didn't direct this one. He was just...
No, he did not. No.
Okay.
It was just his production company was also associated along with Blumhouse. To make up for some of the dodgy specs, there is some really good cinematography. There's some very disorienting shots of when people are in the pool. There's some really well done, like long distance shots from underneath the water. Your nice segue into the James Wan thing is that I think that there's enough backstory that they hinted at that if this does well enough in the theater, I can completely see them doing a whole bunch of prequels, kind of the way they did with The Conjuring kicking off the whole Annabelle series. I think that they've dropped enough breadcrumbs as to what happened before that they can go back to this well or pool if they want to.
From what I've been hearing, I don't think that's going to be a problem that they have to make more. Their box office hasn't actually, and people are like, it's funny, one of the podcasts that I watch about box office, they're like, Well, why is it? You got Blumhouse, and you got and I'm sitting there, and I'm like, this is a horror movie dumped first thing in
In
January.
January,
Has
yes.
anybody ever done a huge opening in January with a horror movie? I can't think of one.
January's when everything gets dumped. When the horror
Right.
movie is getting thrown in January, you know that they didn't have high hopes for it, but they just wanted to kind of get it out there. Personally, I think this is one you could probably wait for it to come on streaming, but it's not something that was, offensive that you wouldn't, it's good to have on in the background while you're doing stuff.
Yeah, I think right now it's still considered theatrical, and I looked at Prime, and it was like $20.
Yeah.
I think if you wait until after this show, it'll probably be down a couple dollars already. And
Simply on the basis of my review. Wow, I feel
well,
powerful.
yeah. I think because this is Blumhouse, that means it's Universal. They're going to throw this out on Peacock pretty quick.
Yeah.
So I think if people can rest themselves just a little bit, they might be able to save a lot of money on this flick. But it sounds like it isn't a total disaster though, because the box office numbers have been.
Yeah, I enjoyed it well enough.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, I didn't pick up on the lead that this means we're going to go into grading. So let's try that. What would you like to grade this film?
Probably about a C plus, actually. It doesn't quite make the B range, but like I said, it's not something that I'm walked away from angry.
Well, that's good. C plus is not bad for a January opening film. You just don't have high hopes this time of year.
Right.
So that's not bad at all. Well, thanks very much, Mike. And
You're very welcome.
we are going to be going to our next panelist, which, of course, is our good friend, Tracy. Tracy, what have you been watching?
You guys, I've been watching Body at Brighton Rock. And it took me 2 days to watch an hour and 28 minutes of playtime.
Oh no! This is gonna be a burial. I have a feeling. Okay, go ahead.
So it's all about this inexperienced park ranger. She's a young female who trades shifts with her coworker, her friend. And I can't honestly remember what her shift was, but she chose to take the trail and check the trail for trash and things like that. So it ends up her just, going off trail, and she finds a dead body.
Oops.
And she radios back to headquarters, and they say, by law, you have to stay with the body. So she's freaking out because she has to stay there overnight with this body. And the entire time she's just hallucinating, like having hallucinations about this dead body. It's terrible, guys.
But what did you think of it?
Don't hold back.
I will go to the good things that I thought were good because,
Okay.
oh God. Okay. So first off, it was put out in 2019, and the director was Roxanne Benjamin, and she was also the writer. Magnolia Pictures put it out. The cinematography was fairly well done, and the SFX was pretty good on the dead guy. But there was this one point, you guys, look. So she's lost. She's gotten off trail, and then all of a sudden she sees this guy out of nowhere. And this guy doesn't even have a backpack. He has nothing but a coat and what he has on him. And I'm like, wait a minute. If you're lost, why aren't, one, you following this guy back? Two, how the hell did he find you without all this stuff if you're so lost in these woods? No sense to me. I had to turn it off so many times. I was like, I can't do this. I can't watch it.
I love it. But you kept watching, didn't you?
Yeah, well, I had to. I had to
Okay.
give a good review. I had to watch it to give the
So-
review. But the
So if you
only
weren't, well, let me
I-
ask this question: if you
What?
weren't going to be doing it here tonight, would you have given up on the movie?
yeah, like within the first 30 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Ooh.
I know that I should pick. I will never pick a movie like this again. It was very hard for me to sit through. Very hard.
Oh man.
Because I sit for a lot.
Okay.
But anyway, the
yeah.
only exciting thing about this movie is the ending.
Okay.
That's where it gets exciting.
Why? Because it was over?
Well, one, it was over, and she was attacked by a bear.
Well,
She was
that's
attacked by a bear.
That's what they have on the cover art, and I couldn't find a single picture of the bear, so I kind of thought this must be like a one scene thing, a bear attack.
There's one jump scare, just one, and that's kind of in the middle, if I remember right. I mean, again, it took me 2 days to watch, so I don't remember exactly where things lined up, but yeah,
Wow.
one jump scare, and the ending was great because of the bear.
Okay. Well, that's good.
Was it a CGI
Yeah.
bear?
It did not, to me, look like a CGI bear.
Maybe it was Gentle Ben. Gentle
that?
Ben used to do stuff. I'm probably the only one that ever heard of Gentle Ben. Am I the only one?
So if you
my
watch-
God.
It's on Amazon for free. Don't be paying for this.
I didn't see it on Amazon. I saw it on Max. It was available on Max.
I thought it was Amazon. No, I saw it on.
When I did the looking for links and stuff, I found it on Max. But I think it's free on Amazon if you do the Max trial subscription or something.
Oh.
I think. It doesn't really matter because I have a feeling you're not going to recommend this fully. But just for grins, let's go ahead and ask for your grade anyway. What are you going to grade this thing?
Is there anything under an F?
No.
Yep.
No,
Yep.
there is
Well,
not. Stop
I say
it.
F minus.
Yes. The F minus only brought out one other time.
Yeah, what was that? Cannibal Killer Clowns?
I have bad
Dope.
reviews.
I'm
I
dope.
just don't. But it was bad.
Oh my God. Oh. I do not agree with the F minus, by the way. It's just that's too cruel. But okay.
We won't be cruel, even though I sat through 2 days of cruelty.
All right. Well, let's switch off. Let's go over to Mike Exler. Hopefully he saw something that he didn't hate completely.
Good.
Let's see what happens here.
Listen, I haven't given a bad review in a while.
Yeah, it's
Because
been
I stopped
surprising.
watching shit. I refuse to do it.
Time I've ever given anything below a C.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're usually my easy grader.
Yeah.
Because you caught on before Mike or I. Just don't watch garbage for the show. Just watch something decent.
Yeah, they just watch garbage for fun.
Right.
2 days of fun down here, hey.
So, Mike, you watched a 10-hour movie.
I did. I watched a series, an 8-episode series on,
Okay.
I guess it's HBO, Max or whatever the fuck they call it now. It's The Last of Us. It's this horror series that's based off of the video game of the same name. That was a PlayStation exclusive, I believe. So it's a post-apocalyptic world where you start off in the early 2000s and some things happen, and then that's when the virus or we'll talk a little bit about what happens when that all happens, and then they do a time jump 23 years later. And it's basically after a global pandemic destroys civilization, a hardened survivor takes charge of a 14-year-old girl who may be humanity's last hope. So that's pretty much the whole thing. So he's got to get her from point A to point B, but that's an almost impossible task to do so. It's a new take on zombies, on how, and they don't call them zombies, by the way. They're either the infected. Some of them have been named clickers, just because of the different. A clicker is completely blind. It's basically using the clicking noise as sonar to bounce back and forth to hear any small little thing noise that you make. So I can imagine playing that in the video game would be completely frustrating. So cordyceps are the cause of the infection, and I didn't know a thing about cordyceps until this, but they're a real thing, and that's kind of terrifying that they actually do this. What was shown to the human body, but they do this to insects because the movie said that they could not survive in our body temperature of 98.6, but they evolved and they can take that temperature now. So that's the basic gist of the film, or the movie, the series, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
Tim, you've been doing this the longest with me. I always talk about dark, bleak horror.
Yeah, I know. It's irritating.
This is it. This is the definition of it. I don't want to give any... It just starts off sad and hopeless, and it just gets much worse the entire time until the last episode, which we'll talk about in a moment. But I don't... again, this is spoiler free, not spoiling a thing. It just watching this and watching other zombie movies, it just doesn't make any sense to me why you would want to survive something like this. So this could be your future. Just boggles my mind that people are fighting to survive. I would rather just have a zombie bite me and just it be done. What are your thoughts? Would you want to survive and live in a apocalyptic world?
I would if I was Charlton Heston in Omega Man. He had that on lock over there.
Yeah, you're assuming we're not already living in the apocalyptic world.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it's close enough.
Tracy, I think you were trying to get in there too.
If I had all this supply stuff, why not? Why not try it? You gotta try something, right?
Right, it's true. It's true, and with the time jump, they also talk about something interesting. The 14-year-old girl who is played by Bella Ramsey, who you might know from Game of Thrones.
Oh, okay.
She was Lyanna Mormont, but they examine this. They're all children, so they don't know what the real world is. They've never seen, like, for example, a mall or a video game or anything like that. So
sounds like some of my interns.
So there are times that she encounters these things, and the actress is amazing because you really believe that she is seeing and doing these things for the first time, and it's just blowing her mind, and it just radiates off of her. I mean, she just killed that portion of it. Now, going back to the video game, I have not played the video game, but from what I'm hearing from friends who have watched it and played it, it's pretty much not verbatim because they have to add some, storyline for a series rather than a video game, but it's very, very close to the video game, and it's weird that they don't do that more often. I don't know. Is it writers that want to twist it too much? I don't know. It just seems like you have the story there, so why not just embellish it a little bit and then? But I don't.
I can actually answer that. I was watching something the other day, and they were talking about when you're adapting something, it would be easier to just do a verbatim thing, but most of the time, the thing is there for the fans who would love to see it verbatim, but
Yeah.
the writers always want to surprise their audience. They don't want them to just go, okay, here's the next beat, here's the next beat, here's the next beat. And they're always trying to throw a surprise in there, which I'm sitting there and I'm like, I don't think that happens when you're converting an Agatha Christie novel, you know? It's like,
Yeah.
the guy who did it is the guy who did it.
Right. I think we want to see it verbatim. I mean, I do anyway,
Yeah.
because that's why the story is good, and I don't need you to mess it up, because they never enhance it well. It's always for the worse.
Well,
Yes.
see there, I'm going to disagree with you because there's a certain movie that I love an awful lot that you know I'm about to reference, Mike. Jaws was a
What?
mediocre book. It was okay. Every change they made to that book into the movie was the right choice. Every single time. I don't know how they did that, but all the things that I disliked about the book are 100% improved in the movie. So I understand it, but also I think it's different too if you're taking something that's like a classic, like The Christmas Carol or something, and you're making changes to it. It doesn't feel as precious as if the thing came out last week, you know. And I always find it interesting, like the Marvel movies. Sometimes they're making changes that it doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever about backstory or this or that. So I don't know. I think there's been success on both sides of the aisle on that, of improving it and not improving it. And I think right now, though, I think we're in a spate of really good video game adaptions that have been coming out the last, maybe 3 years.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Because the last Mortal Kombat was pretty good.
well, and there's that TV series. There's all sorts of stuff that's been coming out lately that has been better. They're starting to kind of figure some of this out. I thought the adaptation, and who the hell could have thought how to adapt it? But I thought the adaptation, the first Sonic the Hedgehog, was freaking fantastic. And I was like,
Yeah,
how
it was
did
a good
this
movie.
happen? Now the second
didn't
movie
see the
brought
second
me
one.
back. Yeah, that brought me back to reality. But the first
Nice.
one was really good. So they are
All right.
hour-long episodes, right? So it's an 8-hour thing.
Yeah, I mean, some vary. Some are like 48, one's like an hour and 6 minutes. So, it varies.
All right.
But as far as just getting back a little bit to the video game versus series, if you go and Google like video game versus series and look at the photos, there's a lot of people that have put, the actors next to the video game, and they really did their homework to make them look pretty much exactly like the video game.
I have an admission for you because you're I think calling in tonight instead of on the computer. The pictures that I have up on the screen, I've realized that I have pictures from the TV show right next to pictures from the video game because
I
couldn't
do see
tell
that.
the difference. I couldn't tell the difference. I was like, yeah, it's close enough. Yeah. Looks like it's her.
Yep, it's pretty crazy.
When I put it up on the big screen, I go, oh, that's animated.
So Pedro Pascal is Joel. He plays the lead guy. I thought he was fantastic in the film. You get to the point where you can just feel his pain through the screen. He just owns the role. Other than the voice, I mean, it was hard not hearing Mando. when he was talking. But other than that, I mean, he became the character, and he just owned it through the entire thing. And, Tim, like a wise man once said, you can't act a negative. So
I was just talking about that interview the other day.
but yeah, Bella Ramsey is hell. She's a strong, vulnerable character. She can handle herself in a fight, but she isn't really as strong as she thinks she is.
Mm-hmm.
But as the series goes on, the actress does an incredible job of showing the progression of someone living in that post-apocalyptic world that's not in a community or this new government that are basically just like gangs. That's living in the shit, basically. And her, I don't want to call it downward descent, but it kind of is. She becomes kind of an animal. But yeah, I mean, you figure you got to be a fucking terrible human being to last out there. With the zombies are one thing, but all zombie movies have that trope now. I guess it's not just zombies coming out of nowhere and biting you, but it's the human threat that's the actual bigger threat. I mean, unless you're in a city or something like that.
Right. Humans are always the real monsters.
Exactly. And that is no different in this movie or in this TV show. One criticism I have is there could have been a little bit more zombie action. It was a lot of human on human altercations and issues with zombies coming back out. Now, I don't know if that was monetary wise, because when the zombies or clickers or whatever you want to call it were on screen, wow, impressive is all I can say. They looked really, really good. So it could have been that.
Oh, so they were animated? They weren't makeup?
I don't know what they were. I couldn't tell.
Okay, well, that's good.
There's a couple that I think had to be animated, like CGI plus practical.
Okay.
But whatever they were doing, fantastic. And I know they were nominated for a ton of awards. None of the actors won, but I know they won some for special effects and things like that.
Technical, yeah.
Yeah. So the last thing I want to say is the ending. I'm not sure what to say about the ending, really. I don't think I've seen a more raw, brutal ending in anything that I've ever seen. It's the exact same ending as the game, I'm told. And the fact that someone put it on digital film, whatever you call it these days,
yeah,
it's impressive that someone had the guts to put this on. So it's, if you said you saw that coming, you're a liar. So it is set for a season 2. Now, I know in the gamer world, the second one was not as well received as the first game.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why, because the cliffhanger and shit that the first one leaves you on, I don't know how it couldn't. I mean, if it continues, so I'm giving season 2 the benefit of the doubt because season 1 was amazing. So I'm ready for my grade.
Okay, I just have to press a button here. And all right, so what? I'm guessing I got my finger kind of poised over a letter. What are you going to give this?
I'm giving it an A. Yeah, it was well done. Can't say enough good about it. So if you're looking for something to binge, check it out. But you're not going to be happy with watching. It's a rough ride. Tim, you're going to hate it.
Oh, I'm not going to watch this. I know I'm not going to watch this. This is too far in Mike land for my.
I'll be honest with you. I don't think I'm going to rewatch season 1. I think one time that ride was enough. I think I'm good.
Well, fantastic. Well, glad you, I guess, enjoyed your movie, your show. So
yeah, I did.
Now it's my turn here, and I think I pressed a button. There it is. My movie is Shivers from 1975. or 1976. It doesn't. It was different on IMDb than it was in some of the other stuff. So I don't know which year, but Shivers came out. It was, I believe, it's considered the first film for David Cronenberg. It's at least the first feature. This is the story of a doctor that's in a high-end apartment complex in Canada. And you can tell it's Canada throughout the film because there's some pretty thick Canadian accents, eh? The complex is soon infected by a parasite that causes all the inhabitants of the film basically to become violent swingers that are out to party all the time.
Violent swingers? Is that what you said?
Yeah, swingers. They get sexual.
Gotcha. I was just wondering.
Yes, yeah.
It's a weird combo.
It's how to put this. It basically, instead of becoming a straight-on zombie, they become or a vampire or something. I think it's closer to like a vampire. All they want to do is fellatio. So it's kind of an unusual combination. It is David Cronenberg, so there's going to be some body horror, and this has some body horror in it.
Where's the horror in this? If that's what the girls want to do, like what?
Yeah, but you're coming off a cordyceps, so anything's going to look better.
Yeah,
that's true. That's true.
Because they kill you pretty darn quick. So and to be honest, Mike, it's a fair question because I didn't think it was scary at all. It's gory.
Yeah.
But I didn't feel it, and I know David Cronenberg, there are people that are probably going nuts right now because he's considered one of the horror gods. But I wasn't too impressed with this movie. Now, Lynn Lowry, who I am going to be interviewing at Horror Realm, and the reason that I finally got around to watching this movie, she was a standout performer in the film. She's gorgeous. And David Cronenberg was smart enough to insert a scene that would have been some boring exposition with her doing striptease in the background. And she was looking very good. So I'm like, hey, good direction there, Mr. Cronenberg. Other than that, like the lead character is a snooze. I mean, he's just a snooze. The Barbara Steele is in it, and she has like the iconic scene where this parasite, which frankly looks like a disembodied penis, is chasing her down in a bathtub.
Fit the tone.
Yeah, it did. But it's funny, David Cronenberg kind of was ripping on some the people that made Alien, because a lot of the things that Alien has was also in this movie, because there's like the parasite bursts out of stomachs, it sprays kind of an acidic goo and that sort of thing. But I'm sitting there and I'm like, if I would have been doing the interview, I would have said, Mr. Cronenberg, this is not Alien. It just isn't to that level. It's not a terrible movie. At no point was I grabbing the phone and deciding to look at Facebook. It kept my attention, and I was watching it on Zumo. If any of you know what Zumo is, it's kind of like Roku. It's free on Roku, on Tubi, on Zumo, and out on Prime. So you can pretty well see it. But Zumo put an awful lot of commercials in this thing, and I was still okay with it, which that's surprising, when I could make it through that. But it sure wasn't something where I was I was feeling nervous for the characters or feeling like the tension was ramping up. It just felt very pedestrian to me. An interesting side note, this was produced by Ivan Reitman. Does anybody know who Ivan Reitman is? A little trivia for you.
Oh, we're all dumb.
Have no clue.
Okay.
Talk about Canada, eh? Ivan Reitman.
Yep.
The comedic masterpiece.
Wait a minute. Is he the Ghostbuster guy?
He is the guy that directed Ghostbusters and Stripes, and he later made Evolution, which I felt this movie kind of reminded me a little bit of. In fact, Ivan Reitman was a key figure in the National Lampoon world. He put together the stage troupe, or at least was partially part of the one that put the stage troupe together, that included Chevy Chase and Belushi, that he stole from Second City out in, I think it's Toronto is the one Second City, and the other one's in Chicago. And that troupe is what ended up morphing in the Saturday Night Live. And it's a lot of the people from that went on to make all those great early Saturday Night Live films like Blues Brothers and Animal House and Caddyshack and all that stuff. So Ivan Reitman, a comedy, a huge comedy guy. This was one of his early producing credits, was making this film. And honestly, reading that they had basically no budget to speak of, you know, you can obviously tell that it's lower budget, but the production elements don't give it away. It isn't like, oh, they decide not to do that because of budget. You look at it and it's like, no, they made it look like an entire high rise was getting filled with sex crazed swingers that are ready to kill. So
It just sounds so silly when you say it.
Well,
Yes.
I'm saying it that way because it does sound silly, because the idea is ridiculous.
Yes, it is.
But yeah, you've not seen this, Mike? Because
I have not. No.
Okay, this is one of those movies that comes up in conversation fairly often, so I figured this one would be an interesting one to do. I am looking forward to, I'm hoping, next week to watch another one of Lynn Lowry's films, The Crazies, the original by George Romero, which I oddly have seen the remake of, but had not seen the original yet.
The remake's better. The remake's better.
Are you saying that for real, or are you just coughing away there?
No, I'm saying that for real. I love George with all my heart, but there's two movies that I wish he never put out. That's The Season of the Witch and The Crazies.
Really? Okay.
Ugh. Season of the Witch I never even finished.
Okay.
Wow.
Finish it off.
So everything I was looking forward to there, maybe I'll watch Tourist Trap.
No.
No, I
Don't
have
do
to
that.
watch that one too. I got quite a list ahead of me here. But again, you know, I'm kind of watching it and I go, okay, am I not getting the horror because nobody's terrified by 1975 levels of gross out special effects, or is it just that it wasn't put together well? I don't know. I didn't think it even unnerved me a little bit, which is unusual. Usually in a horror movie, I at least feel, you know, uncomfortable. That never happened with this one. So I was hoping this would be the movie where I turned the corner with Cronenberg. I'm still not a fan yet. But on the bright side, this movie doesn't go on and on and on past its shelf life. It tells its story, it gets it done, and you're out. So I have to give it a plus for that. But other than that, I'm not a huge fan of this flick. And I'm going to go ahead and grade this bad boy and I am not giving it an A-. I am going to be giving it. I have to give it a D+. I really was not a fan. Some of the acting was fine. The production elements were okay, but I just didn't like the film. It wasn't my stuff. So that's all there is to that one. There's not much more I can say, other than the price is right. You can certainly, if you're curious about the film, you don't have to pay for this one. It's available like everywhere. It's crazy how easy it is to find that one. So go ahead and check it out. All right, we're at that time in the show where we take a look at the website of otherworldlyculture.com. And right now, okay, come on. It is not moving on my screen, so I can't tell you what's going on. There it goes. We just have the streaming guide, and we have things from last season is out there. And that's about it. We didn't have a whole lot of Christmas horror movie stuff out there. I know you're shocked, but we're getting things back going, and we're going to have a great season coming up. Come on. So then also we want to remind everybody about Mike Cieslak's website, thedragonsroost.biz. You can check that out, and lots of great things there. Anything special going on there right now, Mike, that we should tell everybody about?
Nothing up on the website that's spectacular right now. If you are in southeast Michigan or feel like driving in the snow to it, I will be at the Confusion Convention this weekend. I'll be doing a couple of panels. And then on the 3rd of February, I will be at Michigan Oddities Expo.
All right. Fantastic. And we also want to remind people about Tracy's website, tracydeleon.com. You can find out what she's up to there. Anything going on right now, Tracy, you want to tell folks about?
Not really.
Okay. You're playing a coy again. And then, of course, I want to remind people that we are only 42 days away from Horror Realm. And
42.
Only 42, that's right. So, Mike, you're pretty involved out there. What are you looking most forward to at Horror Realm 2024? And I just realized they have the 2023 dates up there, but it's March 1st through the 3rd.
1st to the 3rd. I am looking most forward to seeing you and Jeff.
That is an obvious thing. I do have an announcement for you, Mike. My brother is going to be our personal driver. So
nice. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing Stefan as well.
Yeah, we're going to have a good time coming out. You have a number of panels. Both Jeff and I have a panel or two. So we'll be talking more about that in the coming weeks. I'm very excited. You got a great guest list, I think, for Horror Realm this time. Dee Wallace, that's up on the screen right now. I absolutely am a huge mark for E.T. And I got to tell you folks this, because I'm a total fanboy, as you know. There is a TV series that's available on CW.com. Okay? So you go to CW.com, you can find it's called 1982, The Greatest Geek Year Ever. And they cover all the movies that came out in 1982. Now, obviously, E.T.'s the big one there. But also they talk about how Steven was involved in the making of Poltergeist, and really there's a lot of discussion as to how much did he actually direct that anyway. Mike, you've had quite a few interviews with folks from that movie, and
they won't talk about it.
They won't. Actually, I thought some of the most eye-opening things I had heard in a long time were in this documentary, because they also talked to Mick Garris, who was involved and nearby. And some of the actors that obviously don't care to keep secrets anymore. There was a good discussion of like or Friday the 13th Part 3 came out that year. Just a litany of great horror, sci-fi, genre type films that all came out in 1982. It's only 4 episodes of about 42 minutes a shot. Well worth your time if you can find, and it's free. You know, you just hit the button and away it goes. So I would highly recommend that, and you don't have to bother with finding Shivers if you do that. It's much better use of your time. If you want to be truly depressed, go watch Mike's TV series, because that's what Mike seems to want all of us to be, is utterly depressed all the time.
However, he's the only one that had high marks.
He is.
I mean, we averaged out to a C grading.
Well, if I was grading 1982 the greatest geek year ever, that would have been an A. I would have given that an A. That was a good series. So maybe the story is, don't watch movies, watch TV series. One of my favorite horror things in the last decade, certainly as a vampire film, was The Strain. Guillermo del Toro's The Strain. I absolutely love that series. It would not have worked as a movie or even like a trilogy of movies. It was great as a series. All right. I think that's everything for tonight. Anybody else have anything they want to get out in the ether before we close up the show?
It's good.
If not, then
Stay warm.
Yeah, stay warm wherever you are, and get the snow shovel ready. It will be used. Want to wish you all a safe and happy winter. And I believe we're coming back next week, Thursday, with another Dead On movie review. So get ready for that. I'm pretty sure I'm going to be talking about The Crazies, which will make Mike crazy. So that's coming next week. Thanks, everybody. And until next time, when you aim at horror, make sure you are dead on. See you next time. Is everybody impressed I actually remembered the closing line? I was groping around. What was it? What was it?
Don't say groping.
Why not? Where does your mind go?
Makes me uncomfortable.
Making you uncomfortable is a big part of the show, Mike.
I'm sure.
Well, it's not like you said moist or anything.
Oh, no.
Or wait, that's the other show I do where I make the co-host uncomfortable the whole time. That's right. Well, thanks everybody for tuning in. We're going to shut down the stream. Thank you all, and we'll see you next time.